YARR! Hello, my loves. This is Captain Blue here over at CGPirates. How are you? I hope you're having a splendid day. Okay, so this is partly tutorial and partly going to be showing you, okay, kind of end to end, how I quickly do something. So, just to explain, we're going to build a lighthouse, okay, which is obviously, you know, fits in nicely with the whole kind of pirates, maybe stopping at lighthouses, who knows. But we're going to build a lighthouse as part of a game project. And we're going to start simply, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I build the lighthouse, okay, just completely. It's going to take maybe about 20 minutes, and then after that what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in and I'm going to show you all the bits that maybe you might need a little bit more time to kind of understand what I'm doing with. Okay, so remember, in our basic lesson on an introduction to using Unreal Engine 4, we did stuff about moving, rotating, scaling, deleting stuff, adding stuff, and building our light. We're going to be using all of those skills, and we're going to be bringing them together to make a complete thing, okay? And we're going to start with an existing game level. Now, so that there's no kind of, oh, you started with all these things that we don't have access to going on, okay, I've got Unreal Engine 4.24.0. Now, it says here preview. That means that it's not the final version. Okay, when they bring out the final version it may look slightly different, but Unreal do let us use their preview versions. Okay, I'm going to click launch. Right, so what it's done is it's brought up this. This is their create new project. This is for 4.24.0. Okay, so this is how it looks now. If you remember, in the previous lessons, ones before this, when we were using 4.22, it had a very different start. So we're going to go for games, so I'll just click that, and I'm going to click next, and it'll give me all these options, and I want third person. There we go, and next. Third person's important because it'll set up a basic level that we can use to start off with. Okay, so I'm going to click next. I want a blueprint, maximum quality, ray tracing enabled or disabled. I'm going to keep it disabled because it'll run a little bit quicker. Desktop and console, and with starter content. Okay, and let's give it a name. I'm going to call it the Lighthouse. Now there's no space in there. If you find that you really want to have a space, put an underscore in, okay, and just click create project. The underscore's there because it doesn't like spaces. Okay, so there you go. You can see now it's loaded. I paused, okay, so that's why it's just appeared for you suddenly. It did that thing called asset discovery, so it's just finding where all its stuff is. Now remember, again, you can move all the little tabs and windows around if you like, okay, just to get it however you like it. And that's the important thing, however you like it. Right, so if I press play now, you'll see that our little dude is just standing there, and we can make him run around, okay, and jump. And this is the basic third person starter level. Now I'm hitting escape, and I'm going to start straight away looking around and moving around our level because I want to get rid of some bits. So I'm just going to select them one at a time, and I'm just hitting delete. Very, very easy. There we go. Right. So now that leaves me with this part. I'm going to do Control Z a second just to see what else I've got. Nope, I definitely don't want that piece. So there we go. I'll delete that. Nice. Okay. And as you see, I've got all these shadows left over here. So I'm going to quickly press build. And this will only take a moment or two. If your computer's not very fast, it might take a bit longer. Okay. But it'll do a quick lighting build over here in the corner, and then those shadows will vanish. Just wait patiently. There we go, all gone. Okay, now what I want to do is take these stairs and this bit here, and I'm selecting them both, and I'm going to just bring them straight over to here so they're out the way at the side. Yep. Now I'm not going to take these walls away at the moment because these are giving me a very useful boundary. Okay, I'm going to build it inside this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down here for my basic, and I'm going to get this, which is a cylinder, and just drag it into the middle of my scene. And what I'm going to do is, making sure that this locked is off, I'm going to affect the scale. So maybe I'll make the scale 25, 25, and I'm just hitting tab in between. And that's far too big. Okay, let's make it 22, 22. That's not bad. It's still a bit too big. So I bet 20 is going to be just right. And it was. And I'm going to give it a height of 5 in its scale. So let's go down now and see how that looks. And you see we've got this great big thing here. Okay, now half of it you can see is through the floor here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this to maybe 2.5 and just drag it up. And you see this man here, our little man, is overlapping, so I'm going to move him out the way as well, just over to here. And I'm going to start lining this up. Now, if you think of building an Unreal Engine a bit like playing with Lego, the big difference is that it doesn't matter if the pieces merge into the other pieces. So you can see here, this is merged into this, and we don't mind. Okay? It's not going to affect things badly at all. Now you'll see there's still some overlap at the bottom here, okay, where it's gone through, but I'm not too worried about that, because eventually we'll have to put some rocks and things in and make it into a proper lighthouse. Now, with the stairs leading up to this, we now need to start building the lighthouse itself. So I'm going to just press Alt, and I'm going to click on the up arrow and just pull it until it's about there. And then I'm going to reduce its scale to 16, 16, okay, much narrower, and I'm going to give it a height of, let's say, 10. See how that is. And I'm going to pull back, and, you know, that's not bad, but I bet 15 would be better. And it is, just right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just going to adjust it until, you see that bottom line that makes the cylinder and how it keeps sinking through the bottom? Well, if I keep going up and down, you'll notice that it gets to a point where it's not quite sank through the bottom, okay? And that's what we want. Right, so that's the first part of our lighthouse. And I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, oh, that was very simple. Well, you know, we now need a way to climb our lighthouse, don't we? Now, lighthouses are very strong things. And sometimes there'll be rooms inside these, but we're going to have a ladder going up the outside instead, because I think that would be a bit better for it being a game. So we need to find some stairs. And a good thing is that we can make some stairs if we just press this tab that says Geometry. And you'll see we've got a curved staircase, a linear staircase, and a spiral staircase. So if I just pull out this one, the spiral, just here, and you'll see we've got all of these options here, right? So first of all, let's start with the inner radius. And the inner radius I can change to all sorts of numbers, as you can see, to make it bigger or smaller. And what I need to do is I need to find a number that's going to be lining up with what the scale is on this. Now, the scale, and don't worry if this is making your head start to hurt a little bit, the scale, okay, isn't the same as that inner radius number. So our scale of 16, we can't just put 16 in inner radius, that wouldn't work. What we have to do is experiment a bit. So we keep typing numbers until we start to see something happening. Now, you can see the staircase there coming through. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust it. And what I want to do is keep it the same on all its different sides. Okay, that's looking okay. Now I'm going to continue increasing that radius until it comes out. So I'm at 800 now, 850. 850 is too big. So let's try 825, nearly. 820, just right. And now we can see, if we go around it, that it's just clinging onto the edge there. In fact, I think I might make it 800, just that it comes into the walls there. Okay, so we've got some other options as well, but first of all, let's find the lowest step just by going round and round and round, and I am going to line up the lowest step just over here and bring it down so that it just comes to to there, you see? And you can see that little line just start to vanish just through there when it's in the right place. Now obviously this staircase isn't big enough and it's far too wide. So now we're going to do some little adjusting to it. So where it says step width of 200, let's make that 150. It gives it more of a scary edge. The step height of 20 we can drop down to 10, or we can increase to 40. And I'm going to increase it to 40. And let's see what else we can do, shall we? Steps per 360. And what that means is how many steps there are in a complete rotation. 16 isn't many. 32 won't be enough either if we double it, but if we make it 64, that'll be just right. And now you can see that our stairs are nice and steep. Okay? And they're overlapping a bit. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like it when you see them when they're not kind of got this little overlap space here, because it doesn't look like they'd hold themselves together. So seeing that makes me think that they're a lot stronger. Okay, the next thing I need to do is increase the number of steps so that it comes all the way up to the top. So, number of steps to 32. And let's just go around. And we're nearly there. See, you can see it. So now, if I just see where my mouse just turned into a little arrow there, left and right arrow, I'm just going to move it to the right until it does that. And there you go. That is all we needed to do to get that to there. And now we have these stairs. Okay, well that's good, but we haven't really made a lighthouse, have we? All we've done is we've made a kind of a cylinder. Well, that's okay. We can work on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and I'm going to bring it up. So I'm going to hold Shift and pull, not Shift, sorry, Alt, and just pull it up like that, okay? Just to the part where they start to overlap each other. And if I go down here, I can even see if there's a space between the two, and just bring it down a little bit more. Now then, for it to become a proper lighthouse, we need this to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to change this to 13, 13. And now, as you can see, it's getting thinner and smaller. Now some lighthouses, okay, they go in a bit more like a cone, but our one we're going to make like a cylinder. Okay. Now, getting off this step here for whoever is using this is going to be pretty dangerous. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Basic, and I'm going to get a cube, and I'm just going to pull that cube out here. Then I'm going to just use our tools, our move and all the other tools that I showed you how to use, remember, and we're going to get it so that it's just in the right area. Okay, and I'll bring that out like that, and I'm going to scale it. So I'll just make it a bit bigger. Okay, so we have a little platform, but I'm going to make it not as high, so I'm just scaling it down on the top, because we don't need that thickness. Okay, we're going to give the impression of strength anyway. That's not bad. Now, I don't know about you, okay, but I'm a real stickler for making sure that these angles are right. So I just want to make sure that it looks okay from the top, because I hate it when it doesn't look right. I get really OCD about it. I do have OCD, so you know, that's fine. Okay then, now these stairs, again we can duplicate our stairs. So I'm going to bring them up by holding Alt and just dragging, and you'll notice that it drags them as an empty set of shells. Now that's fine, because this isn't actually a mesh. This is something completely different. We can convert this to a mesh later, but this is kind of a representation, if you understand. Okay, now if I just look at our staircase here, there we go, and I'll click on Spiral Stair Brush so that I've got the whole thing, and I can change our inner radius now, and I'm trying to find the inner radius to connect it to, and I have done, so I'm really pleased about that. So I'm just going to move my arrow now, and then I'm going to go around it and rotate it. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our staircase going all the way to the top of this one. Now, depending on how tall you want your lighthouse to be, okay, we can either stop it here or we can make it a bit taller. So I'm going to leave that entirely up to you, okay, because this is your lighthouse. But I am going to make it one taller, because why not? So I'm going to just increase the size of my platform and then make it thinner. Okay, now I'm going to bring this out. And all I'm doing is I'm swooping around my model. Remember, this isn't a time lapse, I'm doing it in my own time. And I'm not feeling rushed, I'm feeling relaxed about it. Okay, that's good. So remember, one last level. Well, let's just copy this. So, there we go. Just pull it into the right place and make sure there's no gaps, and there isn't. Excellent. Okay, and if this had a scale of 16, this had a scale of 13, then I think we know that this is going to have a scale of 10, isn't it? By 10. Okay, just so the stairs will fit. Lovely. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our spiral stair brush, number 2, and I'm just going to lift it up. And I want to come around over to here, and I'm going to change its inner radius, maybe to 400. No, 450. Yes, 450. Lovely narrow stairs. I like it. And I'm just going to bring that up till that's there. And I need to rotate this. Now I can leave it where it is if I want to, so that people have to walk all the way around the rail of the lighthouse. And no, we haven't put any railings on yet, but we'll talk about that later. But what I'm going to do instead is just do it this way. And I'm going to pull out another cube, just so that we've got a landing. Just line it up the way I want it. And again, like I say to you, okay, unless we're working for somebody and they have something very specific they want, okay, this is your world. You can build it any way you like. This is your lighthouse. Yes, I'm showing you how to make it, but this is, you know, a thing that you can really enjoy making. And if you follow along and you have made it, you should feel accomplishment that you've done it as well. There we go. Okay, so we've got all 3 levels of our lighthouse now built, and it's really big, isn't it? Really, really big lighthouse. Now, at the top, what's it missing? Well, it's missing a light, but that's okay. We'll put a light on it. So I'm just going to hold Alt and just drag this up, and now the scale's far too big. So I'm going to change this scale here to maybe 2.5. No, wait, wrong scale, silly me. I'm going to change the scale here to 2.5. Okay, so it's nice and low. And then for the other scales, remember I'm just using tab to go between them, I'm going to change that to, well, if the other one was 10, this should be now 7, shouldn't it? And I'm going to bring that down there. Okay, and let's see how high that is. Does that look high enough? You know what, I think it needs to be a little bit higher, so I'm going to change that to 4. And 4 looks a lot better. Okay, and then on top of this, I am going to put a cone. So I'm going to take my cone and I'm going to drag it. Okay, and it's kind of in the right place. Now, if you remember our scales from before, very easy. I can just put a 7 and a 7, and it'll now fit on top of it. And I'm going to give it a scale of 2. And now I'm just going to move it until it fits on top, a bit like a hat. There we go. And now I'm going to widen it. And then we have a lip. Okay, that's not bad, but I think the lip should probably be the same width as this. So I'm going to make it 10. And I don't think I'll increase that value there. I think that's fine. Okay, pardon me. Now, if we come back to where it was that we started from, okay, we can now see that we've kind of got this going okay. I think the hat on top of it could do with an increase in size, probably. So I'm going to change its scale to 3. Okay, and just bring it up a little bit. There, that looks a bit better. And this is very much our starting place for the lighthouse, but you can kind of see now, I think, that it is a lighthouse. Okay, it's very much a classical lighthouse as well. So we're looking at not a modern lighthouse from about 1800s onwards. You're looking at one that's older, maybe a Phoenician lighthouse, or you know, a Middle Ages lighthouse, where they didn't tend to build in using the whole kind of conical method. Okay, now is there anything else that I need to do before we finish up this little set? Well, I think there is. I'm going to, you see these two boxes? Well, this box here, if I just click on it, is called a post-processing volume. Okay, now I'm not going to use our post-processing volume today, so I'm not even going to bother clicking on it. But this one, that's our light mass importance volume, and this is important because anything inside this, okay, gets a priority for its lighting build. Anything outside this, the lighting building engine isn't really that interested in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here with this selected, geometry editing, and you'll notice that I've got all these boxes now have appeared in the corners where the vertexes would be. Okay, and I want to edit. So I'm just going to click on the top where this square is, and you'll see it's highlighted that square. This is very easy, by the way. Okay, if you're not sure, just practice. You can click on the sides, click on the top, you can even click on the little square vert boxes. But I'm clicking on the entire top, and I'm going to drag it up. And now, if I just go over here to place again, that is all inside our light mass importance volume, which means that it will calculate the lighting for our scene inside here. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to save my current as. This is important. Now in here I'm going to right click, so I just right click and I get this option, new folder, and I'm going to call it Lighthouse. And I'm going to double click and go in there, and I'm going to call this Lighthouse and then _1, and that way I have different versions of my lighthouse so that I know I can go back to it. Now if you want to see how big our lighthouse is, well, look at that. It's huge, isn't it? And what I'm going to do is, if I just click play, you can take our little man here, and the steps are a little bit too big for him. See, so he keeps getting a bit caught on the steps. But what I can do is I can decrease the height of the steps if I need to, so that he's going to find it a little bit easier to run up the stairs. Once he's got some speed going, it doesn't matter, but you know, the stairs are a little bit tall for him, but that's something we can adjust. And as you can see, it's quite a long way up. I'll not make him fall off the side, just in case anyone's got fear of heights. Right, and so the last thing I need to do is just click Build, and we will have our basic lighthouse. This won't take very long. Here it is down here in the corner. Lighting build's complete. See, didn't take long. There we go, and there's all our lighting built. Okay, so I hope you found that interesting. This, if you have followed along and you've done this, this is fantastic, because you have a game level. You have a complete game. You may not realise it, but you do. And if you haven't followed along yet, give it a go. Now, like I said, I did go through this quite fast, so the support tutorials are also with this one, where I will show you some additional things that you might want to know more about. Okay, that way it's not going to overwhelm and cause problems, because I know that there is a lot of stuff that you have to learn. So until we talk next time, have a great time. See you later, matey.